Just hours before these shoppers poured into Eastridge Mall on Friday, the mall's DMV location was quickly shut down after a worker there tested positive. Some customers say that workers at the license plate office were not using any protective equipment. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Scott Wickersham.
I'm Erica Bryant. Gaston County reporter Ken Lemon is joining us now live from that mall. Ken, it's those customers who are now worried that they were exposed.
Yeah, they're concerned. So too is the health department. They're looking into this. They're trying to get in contact with people who may have been exposed, but they say because of patient confidentiality, they are limited in what they can say about that individual who worked in that very public job and about their investigation.
I hope I wasn't exposed.
Last week, Vincent Mates went to the license plate office to get a tag for a car. Now he worries he may have gotten a little more.
I was there on Thursday, and it was closed on Friday because of coronavirus.
He is one of the drivers who found the gates unexpectedly closed Friday morning. The state forced him to shut down after one of the employees tested positive for COVID-19. He said there was a sign on the door then that said they were closed for cleaning and disinfecting. We didn't see that today. We found this one that says closed until May 18th. For health and safety concerns, no mention of COVID.
I really would like to know some information beforehand.
There's a glass partition between staff and customers, but they have to pass money, paperwork, and license plates back and forth. Mates and others we talked to say staff didn't wear masks or gloves. We're told other employees will be tested. But what about the scores of people like Mates who want to know if they were serviced by a person who tested positive? I went to the health department.
We can't discuss specific cases.
They would only speak generally about how they conduct contact tracing in any case. They said partitions, even without gloves or masks, meet CDC recommendations.
Any situation that we're in, there's a possibility, even if it's small, of some type of exposure.
And they said the best recommendation is to do what you saw Mates there do, that is keep a mask on when you're indoors, no matter what people are doing around you. There's a sign outside of that office that says that you can go online and you can complete any information, anything that you need to do there. That is good for vehicle registration, but there are some tasks that you can only do in person, Erica.
Yeah, and Ken, you know, we had our cameras out there on Friday evening as shoppers excitedly walked back into that mall for the first time in weeks.
Yeah, that happened, that reopening that began at 5 o'clock. However, the people that we spoke to said that when they came in the morning on Friday, they shut down that store, so the store would have been closed and that exposure should not have been an issue for those individuals. Okay. Erica.
Ken, thank you. Eastridge was just one of several local malls that opened in phase 1 of the state's reopening plan once it took effect. South Park Mall, Concord Mills, and Charlotte Premium Outlets also reopened. Now, while the malls opened, we saw many stores inside each one that did not decide to open.
Is the Charlotte area at risk of a spike in our future? An unreleased federal coronavirus task force report that was obtained by NBC News says officials think they should keep an eye on our area. They list Charlotte and surrounding counties among 10 other areas in the country that they call locations to watch. The report is dated May 7th. It shows the region had a 250% increase in cases over the previous week, again compared to the week before. Channel 9's Tina Terry has been digging into this story, looking at some of these numbers. Tina, what are you finding?
Yeah, well, Scott, the state's top health official told us that she is aware of this report. It places North Carolina and the Charlotte area on what's called a to-watch list. Now, that is because of a sharp increase in COVID-19 cases. Now, this is very different messaging than we've received from some local as well as state leaders who have categorized our situation as stable. Coming up tonight at 6, we're going to sort through that new report. We'll tell you everything that you need to know, and we're asking state officials how this information is dictating how North Carolina reopens. Back to you, Scott.
All right, thank you so much, Tina. And speaking of data, Mecklenburg County will no longer release its projections after some questions about the model that the county officials were using. The county had been using the Penn Medicine model known as CHIME. Now, WFAE is reporting that the scientist who designed that said that Mecklenburg County was not using it correctly. It is designed to simulate the beginnings of an outbreak and will show a sharp increase of cases no matter when during an outbreak it is used. The health department told WFAE that they will stop releasing those projections. Statewide, hospitalizations are now up for a third straight day. The state also reporting 480 new cases today. That is a big spike from yesterday and is expected as more testing gets ramped up, but the percentage of people tested who are positive was only 5%, so that's a good indicator. Now, we're still waiting on South Carolina to update their numbers for today, but here's a look at where things stand from yesterday. South Carolina was nearing 8,000 positive cases.
Charlotte-Mecklenburg School seniors finally have a better idea of what their graduation will look like. The superintendent made the announcement last night. Now, seniors will get a pre-recorded virtual graduation video. It'll have speeches and the reading of each graduate's name with photos. They will receive their diplomas during a drive-through ceremony, and there is a promise for a future school-based ceremony when it is safe to do so. Our education reporter Elsa Gillis is joining us live. Elsa, I know you've been asking more questions about exactly what the virtual ceremonies and drive-throughs would look like.
Yeah, Erica, I've asked the district how much individual schools and students will be able to weigh in on the celebrations and what comes next. I am still waiting to hear back, but I did speak today with 2 student leaders to get their thoughts.
Senior Kendall Sanders, like so many, is working through the tough reality of graduation this year.
I'm not gonna lie, I was a little disappointed being senior class president because we put so much work into towards the end of the year. But I do totally understand this pandemic, it's never happened before.
And she's looking forward to hearing what comes next.
As far as the drive-through part, we're not sure yet. So I hope they do leave it up to at least the schools or the students, because they can always give it to our student government and stuff like that. So it can be a little bit more personalized and a little bit more special.
She says she'd like to see some personal touches in the pre-recorded virtual ceremony as well, like perhaps some music, being that her class is graduating from Northwest School of the Arts.
Maybe having a little time at the end of the pre-recorded message to have something personal from that school, I think would be really cool.
It's such a huge momentous occasion.
CMS School Board Student Advisor Gabe Schul spoke with me today after the emotional board meeting last night. He says he definitely thinks there's still room for suggestions on how graduation will play out.
Especially since from here on out, a lot of the decisions are going to be with the schools specifically. So parents or students who are involved in their specific schools can have a much easier access point to having a voice in what these celebrations look like.
Now, Gabe added that while he's not a senior and understands that he's not going through what they are experiencing right now, we all need to remember that safety comes first. And Erica, I'll let you know when I learn more about what the ceremonies will look like.
All right, Elsa, thank you. Well, every school district is making some tough decisions about how to handle graduation. Some, including Union County, have not announced a decision yet. But today, seniors at Sun Valley High School got to pick up their caps and gowns. As you see in the video, the staff came out to hand them out as the students drove through. A staff is reviewing feedback from a parent-student survey before announcing the graduation plans. We do know of at least one school district that will hold an in-person graduation. Coming up ahead at 6 o'clock, we'll lay out the 3 things that parents and students in Lancaster County will have to do to hold a safe ceremony.
You may have spent your rent or groceries or other bills. Well, there is now a new push to send you more money and more relief. Our Action 9 investigator Jason Stujenki is joining us now with a look at what makes this latest plan different.
Well, the new stimulus plan is called the HEROES Act. It would include $1,200 per person, and this time that includes $1,200 per child. A family could get up to $6,000. The first stimulus package, you may remember, gave $500 per child. Now, in addition to the money that would go to families, the $3 trillion plan would also provide rent and mortgage help and give money to state and local governments. There are questions about whether the HEROES Act will pass, though. The House is expected to vote on it as soon as Friday. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has said Republicans want to look at the impact the first stimulus plan had before passing a new one. Now, in the meantime, I know a lot of you are still waiting for your first stimulus check. You had until noon today to put your direct deposit information into irs.gov. If you didn't do that by this point, you'll still get money, but it'll come in the form of a paper check, and you may not get that until June.
Of course, there's a big push in the Carolinas and in other states around the country to get everything back open as soon as possible. Yesterday, Reopen NC protested in Raleigh, demanding the state reopen now and get people back to work. Lieutenant Governor Dan Forest and 5 other Republicans sent a letter to the governor saying not enough people are getting unemployment benefits.
If you're not looking at the screen, we want you to turn around and take a look at this video. You see that man holding a gun. Minutes later, officers say that he started firing 60 rounds. CMPD says that shootings just like that have spiked lately. Listen to this. They say there have been 30 of them in just the past week. Our veteran crime reporter Mark Becker asked the police and community leaders what is behind this violence.
While we've all been focused on the threat that's posed by the coronavirus pandemic, police here say there's another threat that's really hit the streets of Charlotte very quietly, and that's gun violence that's now raging out of control. In April, it was a barrage of gunfire outside a home in North Charlotte, and by the time the shooting stopped, police say almost 60 shots had been fired. Then on May 1st, a running feud triggered a shootout in an apartment complex nearby that injured one man and terrified a neighborhood.
Don't count the number of rounds, count the number of people who are in panic and living in that type of situation.
Deputy Chief Gerald Smith says police are frustrated by the spike in gun violence that's brought 30 shootings in the last 7 days, leaving 11 people injured, 3 of them just yesterday. And community leaders are looking for answers too.
Looking at the 30 shootings in a week, the 11 individuals, when you do the statistics, there's troubles in the homes.
This afternoon, Garcia Nelson and some of those leaders told us they're not surprised by the spike in violence because the pandemic has upset the fragile balance in the home and community and shut down vital lifelines like barbershops, where many, particularly teenagers, can turn for support.
When they get in the chair, they become the counselor, they become the teacher. Some have become the parents to say, put that gun down. Those active gang members that trust the barbers, they can relate to them.
Bottom line, those community leaders tell us, unless we can find a way to reach those who may feel disconnected by our new reality, it could be a long and violent summer ahead. In North Charlotte, I'm Mark Becker.